So one more minute I'll give people and then I'll bring up the presentation. And fingers crossed it will work. If not, and if people arrive late, I might have to stop the presentation to admit them, so bear with me. I'm sure most people will come in the next minute or two. It's just the joys of Zoom.
Hi Jennifer, you could make somebody else a co-host,
yeah,
and then
if anybody else is up for that, I'm happy to do that.
You could put me in it. I think that might let me let anybody who's in the waiting room in, I think.
Okay, yeah, I will. Okay, so I'm not sure whether you become the full host. Now it's saying like if I change host, then I'm no longer the host. So I don't think I'll be able to bring up my presentation. Let's see how we go anyway. I don't mind stopping the presentations if you don't. Hopefully nobody else is going to come in too late. We'll just have to see how we get on. So bear with me a sec. I'm going to attempt to bring up my presentation anyway. Let me know if you can, give me a thumbs up if you can see that on the screen anyway. And let me see if I can still admit people. I'm not sure if I can. I think I might be able to still admit them. So fingers crossed, let's kick it off, okay? So I'm gonna start this from the start.
From experience of using Zoom, Jennifer, actually, if you've got the presentation slide on, it doesn't show you participants in the waiting room or.
Oh, I can see them. Don't worry. I can see somebody now, and I can admit her. So we're all good. I'm actually leaving the kind of that section up on the screen, so you know it doesn't matter. I don't need to see my slides perfectly. It's fine. I just want to make sure everybody can get in. So thank you. If you're just joining now, I'm just about to kick things off, and this session is being recorded. So after the session, I'll download it. I'll send it over to Sriram, and then he can share with you all. So don't worry. You don't need to take loads of notes. I'm one of these trainers that actually has a lot of slides, so I'm happy to share the slides with you all as well, so you can look back on, and there will be a little checklist. I'm not sure if you've already received it. I'll talk about it in a few slides when we get to it. So let's kick things off. So today the session's on how to raise your visibility on LinkedIn to enable effective research collaborations. Okay, so quite a long title. So first things first, if we're not already connected, that is my LinkedIn URL at the top of the screen. So I'd love to link up with you. You know, if you have any questions after today, if you're left hanging about anything, just reach out to me and let me know. I've also got a company page called My Super Connector, and I share a lot of top tips and updates on LinkedIn. So give it a follow if you want to stay in the loop. And of course, follow your own company page, okay? So follow the company page for the University of Exeter. You can see you've got quite a lot of followers at the moment, which is amazing. And likewise, I would encourage you to follow the company pages of anyone who interests you. So influencers, thought leaders, anybody that you want to connect with, whether it's an individual or a company, you can give them a follow, and then you get their content in your newsfeed. So if you just join, we've just kicked it off, so don't worry, I'm recording the session and you'll get a copy of it later, okay? So you haven't missed anything. So this is how the webinar is going to run. It's going to be roughly 45 to 60 minutes of PowerPoint, and I will be encouraging you to chat in the chat box as well. I don't want to just talk at you for 45 minutes or so, and then we will get to Q&A, and I'm happy to bring up LinkedIn on the screen so I can show you in, you know, how to actually do the tech or the things in real time rather than just chatting with you on the screen. So I'm happy to bring up LinkedIn. So first things first, if everybody can mute themselves, that'd be great. Sorry, I should have said that at the start. And if you've got questions as we go along, if you want to unmute yourself, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll be kind of encouraging you to put your questions and stuff, your feedback into the chat box, if that's okay. So first things first, you may not be aware, but LinkedIn currently has 756 million members in 200 countries and regions worldwide. So there are roughly 30 million users in the UK. So Facebook has over 2 billion users, but the people on LinkedIn are in that professional business mindset, so they have the money to invest in your products and services. And people on LinkedIn go a lot deeper than they do on the other social media platforms. And I never really think of LinkedIn as social media. I think of it as a social network, because it's the largest professional network in the world. Okay.
我在听讲座。
If everybody can mute themselves, that'd be great. Okay, so I'd love to know in the chat box, where do you think you are when it comes to the LinkedIn pyramid of success? Okay, and there's no judgment here. Are you absent? So this could mean maybe you're on LinkedIn a little while, or you're on there a long time, but you never log on, you never really check it. Or perhaps you're a lurker, so maybe you are, again, new to LinkedIn, or you could be on there years, but you're looking on from the sidelines, so you never really engage or comment or post, you're just looking, okay? Or perhaps you're already a networker and you're, you know, productive, you're consistently connecting with people and commenting and posting. Or perhaps you're an influencer, and I believe absolutely everybody can be an influencer on LinkedIn. It's not like Instagram and Kim Kardashian and a zillion followers. You can be a micro influencer or a nano influencer with 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers. Okay, so the good news today is, if you are absent, you're about to get benefited about you're about to get educated about the benefits of networking on LinkedIn. If you are lurking, I'm going to give you the right strategies, skills and hacks to work smarter. If you're a networker, I would encourage you to join groups of engaged members to support consistency. So that could be groups of your peers, just to help you stay in the loop. And if you want to become an influencer, you just generally have to have some kind of purpose, okay, and want to make some kind of impact in the world. And when you start to talk about that purpose, it becomes a lot easier than talking about yourself on LinkedIn, because it's greater than you. So I can't actually see the comments in the chat box, but I promise I will go to them after. So please continue to engage. And the good news is, if you answered that you were a lurker, okay, and you're thinking, oh no, or absent, 90% of those 756 million members on LinkedIn are lurking, okay? It's a massive amount of people not showing up. For some reason, people seem to block themselves on LinkedIn, or overthink it, or get imposter syndrome. And you'd be surprised to learn there is amazing organic reach on LinkedIn. Only 1% of those users are creating original content. Only 1%. And I didn't put it up here, but 15% of all marketeers are using LinkedIn. So only 15, like, so there's massive organic reach. The organic reach on LinkedIn is similar to the organic reach on Facebook about 10 years ago. So it's amazing currently. And even if you're brave enough to do comments, okay, so you don't even have to create original content or curate content. Even if you comment on other people's posts, you jump into the top 10% of engagers on LinkedIn, okay? So a great way to start and dip your toe in the water is to start commenting on your network's posts, and you are actually then one of the top 10% of engagers. So hopefully that's made a lot of you feel better. I was once a lurker, I was once absent, and hopefully after today, you're all going to be in that networker mindset, and some of you will be aiming for influencer. So before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of today and how it's going to benefit you as researchers, I just wanted to do a little bit of a breakdown on LinkedIn. And this is what most of us think of LinkedIn. We think of an online CV, spammy salespeople in our inbox, recruiters, human resources, career services, and corporate. But I just want to say that LinkedIn has massively evolved. It's been around for 18 years now, so it's an adult, and it's massively changed. It's the #1 personal branding platform at the moment. So it's a lot more than just an online CV. So what is it? Well, firstly, it is a huge database of connections, so individuals, company pages and groups, and they're all searchable by both Google and LinkedIn's algorithm. And Google ranks LinkedIn really highly. It ranks it higher than any of the other social media platforms. And you'll know, even if you go onto Google and if you put in your name, or if you're at a company, if you type that in, your LinkedIn profile will come up probably on the first page of Google, okay? And sometimes even for business owners, their LinkedIn profile will show up above their website, and they put so much effort into their website and no effort into their LinkedIn profile. And then when people see their LinkedIn profile, they're underwhelmed and they never look at their website. So you really need to think of LinkedIn as your career website and treat it like a website, okay? So secondly, as well as being an amazing database and search engine, it is a networking tool. It's a place where you can see mutual connections with third parties and ask for introductions and give referrals. So like I said, it's the largest networking platform in the world at your fingertips. It's a platform for growing your personal brand and establishing yourself as an expert and a thought leader. And it's also a great platform for showcasing social proof, which is endorsements. They are those skills in your profile, and recommendations, because social proof is everything. We look up sites, you know, for trips, TripAdvisor, hotels, restaurants, Trustpilot. We look at all these things to see independent social proof. So when people are looking at you, whether it's for a project or a new role or anything like that, they will look at the recommendation section. So never be shy and always reach out, and I can show you later on how to ask for a recommendation if you want, and tell you the best way to ask for one. And last but not least, it's a way for potential clients and people to find what they need in 3 ways. So firstly, the LinkedIn search bar. You need to make the LinkedIn search bar your friend. We're also used to using Google, but LinkedIn, that search bar is just as powerful. You can also find people in LinkedIn groups, and I'll touch on them a little bit more in the presentation. You're currently allowed to join up to 100 groups. I'm not telling you to join 100 groups because you'll get overwhelmed, but I'm sure there is an alumni group that you can join. There's probably many groups for your peers. You know, I would say focus maybe on 5, otherwise it's just too much. And you can find potential clients and people of interest via content. So content on the home feed, either from your immediate connections, who are your first degree network, or your second and third. So your second is like a connection of a connection, and then you go back to your third. But if I'm honest, I've never had to go to my third degree network for anything, because you're usually only one person away from that person that you want to speak to, okay? So it's all about leaning into your network as well. It's not just about your immediate network. You may have 50 first degree connections, but if you lean in to your second degree, that pool may extend to about 10,000. So, you know, for example, me, I've got over 10,000 connections. So if you ever see that I know somebody from a company that you're interested in, don't be shy, reach out and ask me to introduce you, because I'll be more than happy to do it, okay? So that's the power of LinkedIn. It's not just your immediate network, it's about tapping into their, you know, their network. So it's very far reaching. So bear with me a sec. I just need to have a quick sip of water. So I believe anyway that LinkedIn works for all businesses, all industries, and all career stages. It's not just B2B, business to business, it's business to consumer as well. You could be an executive, a corporate, you could be sole trader, you could be a large corporation. It works for absolutely everyone. It's just about finding a way that feels authentic for you. There is no one size fits all approach. I will tell you today some theory that will help you, but it's all, when it comes to the actual usage of it, it's finding a way that feels good for you and your goals, but also your personality, okay? Because we're all different. Some of us are introverts, some of us are extroverts, some of us, you know, are going to want to hang out on the home feed, some of us are going to hate the home feed, we're going to prefer hanging out in Messenger, some of us might love groups. So I'll touch a bit on that later on, but that is great news. There is no one size fits all. So, you know, when we network, we do network differently. You know, an introvert or an extrovert at a basic level, if it was a face-to-face event or a Zoom event, we'll network differently. You know, I'm an introvert, even though I'm super chatty. If I go to a face-to-face event, I don't work the room. I only chat to 2 or 3 people, and that's good enough for me. So it's just about you figuring out what feels right for you. So what are the benefits of LinkedIn for a researcher? Well, to network with peers, alumni, organizations, and you can do this on the home feed, in LinkedIn Messenger, which is the direct messages, the inbox, the emails, and also groups. So there are 3 main ways to network on LinkedIn, okay? And you can even choose one or a combination. It's what suits you. So you can find a new employer, either paid or voluntary, obviously you prefer paid, for research and to gather market intelligence. Like I said, it's a large database, everything's there at your fingertips. You can generate opportunities and you build relationships, because you need to realize most of the people on LinkedIn are humans. There are some bots, but you know, they are human beings for the most part. So it's all about relationship building. You can find new partners and businesses to collaborate with. And ultimately, you establish yourself as an expert and a thought leader in your field by answering questions and posting on your preferred subject or subjects, you know, and you choose those subjects that are your preferred subject, okay? So before we kick off, the secret really to raising your profile on LinkedIn and networking in general is giving. So it's about approaching LinkedIn with that, how can I help you approach, okay? Versus an extraction mentality of, oh, what's in it for me? What can I get? So this quote from Dale Carnegie sums it up. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. So give you an example. Just say you're on LinkedIn 5 days a week. You're on Monday to Friday. So 4 of those posts, so you follow the 80-20 rule, which means 4 of those days, it's about giving value to your network. It's about informing them, educating them, motivating them, inspiring, entertaining, but it's all about value, okay? How can I give value to my network? What can I put out there? Maybe it's comments, maybe it's posts, maybe it's referrals, maybe it's introductions. How can I give value? And then 1 day a week, 1 post out of the 5 is about you. And even then it's like a soft push, and it could be in a blog, okay, that you've written. So it's all about giving back. And when you do give back, you become known as a thought leader, somebody sharing valuable content, and the law of reciprocity kicks in, okay? So I just wanted to start off, and you might think, what is this? I want to actually start off with the metrics to ask you, do people know what is their SSI score? Have you ever heard of social selling index? So feel free to share this in the chat box if you know what your score is, and I promise I'll explain more in the next slide. It will make a bit more sense. So your SSI, it's a metrics built into the back end of LinkedIn. There is no easy way to find it from your profile. You have to actually manually type in that URL at the bottom of the screen. So if you open a second tab now and just put in linkedin.com/sales/SSI, you will be brought into the back end of your profile and you will get a score out of 100. And I promise it'll make more sense when we get to the next slide. So I'd love you to share your scores. Like I said, there is no judgment here. I don't mind if somebody's getting 2 out of 100, 5 out of 100. The whole point is that it's going to increase, and I'm going to help you increase it. And it's just a useful metrics for you to know. So the score is out of 100, and it's broken down into 4 quadrants. The first is, out of 25, how good are you at establishing your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships, okay? And it ranks you in 2 ways. Firstly, according to your industry, and secondly, according to your network. So the next slide, this slide makes it a bit more clear. So when you actually use that URL, this is what you will see, and you will get a score out of 100. Now, I know you're all high achievers, you're all researchers, I just put it out there. You're never going to get 100, okay? I can't get 100. The highest I've seen from another trainer lately is 88, okay? So get that 100 out of your head. You're never going to get it, okay? So my area of specialism is really the top section. So establishing a professional brand, I'm usually 24, 25, and then building relationships. So that's what I'm here to tell you about today. You will probably excel at the middle 2. So the second section here, finding the right people, it's all about using the search bar, okay? Research and search. So this is probably an area that you're going to thrive, and you're going to get the top 25 once you get into the swing. And it's about engaging with insights and analytics. So clicking back into your posts and seeing what was the reach, the number of likes, comments, and shares, okay? So as you can see, the top left, I score top 1% of my industry, so that's other social media trainers, and then top 1% of my network at large. So I've got over 10,000 connections. You're capped at 30,000, which is more than enough. And after that, people can follow you, okay? And they can follow you before that as well. It's a personal choice. So please share your scores. And I promise I'm going to give you some tips that are going to help you to build your score and get it up there. But don't get hung up in it. It is a rough metrics, just so you know whether you're on the right track. It changes daily, okay? I haven't been doing much search in the last day or 2, so that's why I'm scored down. But if I'm honest, I never get 25 in the search or the analytics, because that's not my specialty. I'm all about building relationships and positioning yourself and personal branding, okay? So I will show you during the day, during this presentation, how to get it up, so don't worry. So today we're chatting about collaboration and how can you collaborate with people. So there's a simple formula, okay? On LinkedIn, it's all about having credibility and visibility. Now you are all credible, but are you all visible? And hopefully the tips I'm going to give you today are going to make you think of, you know, you need to show up more and you need to toot your horn and showcase your credibility, okay? And when you are credible and visible, you create a sense of community, connection, and collaboration, okay? So there's no point being credible but not visible. Nobody knows you exist if you're not visible. Likewise, you'll get people on LinkedIn who are highly visible, but they have no credibility because they've never built their brand. They're just on there going me, 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 me. They're not showcasing any value or thought leadership or giving back to their network at all. So I know you've all got the credibility part nailed. You just need to get visible, okay? And how do you build a community? Well, this is my simple formula. It's not rocket science. The first is working on solid foundations. So building your LinkedIn profile. If you're a company, you also build your company page. Getting clear on your personal brand, who you are and what you stand for. And likewise, if you're a business, your business brand, your business values, your mission, your vision, your purpose. Then participate. It is a social network. You need to get ready to mingle. And we talked a little bit about the home feed, messenger and groups. Get social, you know, it is a social network. You have to get social and be a human being in order to get full use of LinkedIn, really. You have to be active. You can't be a passive participant on LinkedIn. Otherwise, you are using it like an online site like Indeed or Read or anything like that. And it's not that, it's a social network. Oops, sorry about that. I don't know why that's disappeared. And then get consistent, okay? It's all about being consistent. So whether you're showing up daily, weekly, monthly, it's all about that consistent, clear message, okay? And that helps to build the know, like, and trust, which helps to build a community. Now, the great news about LinkedIn is that you do not need to show up every day on the home feed or even in direct messages to get it working for you. You could even have one impactful post a month and build a following on that. So don't worry about this taking up all of your time. It's about you figuring out a strategy that's going to work for you and your goals. So when it comes to starting off with your profile, it's all about building it out as much as possible, filling out the sections, you know, all of the sections, and being mindful of the power of your first impression. And I will give you tips on this today. And obviously tailoring your profile to your objectives, just as you would with a CV if you were going for a job. You need to tailor your LinkedIn profile as well so that it's talking to your target audience, and then completing that profile as much as possible, because the more you complete the profile, the more you will show up in search, okay? So you probably have heard of all-star LinkedIn profile, and you will see it when you scroll down on your LinkedIn profile a little bit down. You'll see your private dashboard, and you'll see over on the right hand side whether you have all-star or not. Now, there are 7 criteria you need to tick in order to get that little all-star badge. And when you get that all-star badge, you will show up in 40% more searches. So it's definitely worth striving at the bare minimum to achieve all-star. And I just wanted to say, you'll see a little screenshot here. I have emailed over to Shriram this LinkedIn profile success checklist. So think of that as your homework. Hopefully, going to share it with you. It is a 7-page PDF document, and it goes through all the sections of your profile I would advise that you optimize. So that's like your takeaway. So don't worry if you're here today thinking, oh, I'm not quite sure what to do. That will be your homework, okay? And check that out later on. So what is the all-star criteria? Well, firstly, you need to have a profile picture, okay? A headshot. You need to prove that you're not a bot. Secondly, you need to showcase your experience. So usually this is your current role and 2 previous roles. Now, if you've not had 2 previous roles, you could have had a voluntary role, but just flesh out as much as you can. Skills. So this is the endorsement section. So to qualify for All-Star, you only have to list 5 skills, but you can actually list up to 50. And I would urge you to fill out those 50 if you can. Look at my profile for inspiration. Your skills basically will be on any job spec that you're looking for, will have a mix of hard skills and soft skills. You need to make sure you've got them in your profile. And a lot of your skills will probably be you know, when you were applying for your courses at university, it'd be on the syllabus, you know. So it's all about you doing your research and figuring out what are the keywords and skills that you want to be known for, whether it's actual tech software or hard skills, soft skills. You know, there are a few that we can all use, like communication, leadership, management, networking, LinkedIn. You know, there's a few that we can all use. So have a look at mine for some inspiration. Then your summary is the about section. So even to qualify for All-Star, you just have to even have one sentence written, but obviously I would say write a lot more. Industry and location. So make sure you've got the right industry and location showing up in your profile. This is an easy thing to just do in your profile. Education, you don't even need to spotlight a lot about it, as long as you just list your university or your schools. You don't need to go into really full detail to qualify for All-Star. You just need to have some education listed. And then connections. At a bare minimum, to qualify for All-Star, you need to have 50. But to be honest, in order to get like LinkedIn properly working for you, you're probably going to need to have 200 plus connections, you know, and ideally 500 plus. But yeah, aim for 50 to begin with if you are starting off. So that's what you need for All-Star. And like I said, when you get All-Star, you show up in 40% more searches. So it's definitely worth trying to, you know, tick that basic criteria. So now I'm going to touch a little bit on your personal brand. And you might think, why is my personal brand necessary? I'm not a big brand like Nike or Amazon. Well, we all have a personal brand, whether we're aware of it or not. And your personal brand, it's your business, it's your digital footprint. It is the perception of you and impression of you that you're putting out into the world. And the great thing is it's fully in your control to dictate what other people say about you based on your profile, your content, your messaging, okay? It's fully in your control, which is amazing. And to quote Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. It's not what you say about yourself. So it's very important when you're on LinkedIn to be 100% authentic to who you are as an individual. Don't put across this kind of fake persona or perfect version of you on LinkedIn, because you want, when people meet you in person or on a Zoom, that it's the same person and there's that congruency, you know, because if there's not, it doesn't help with the know, like, and trust. And I think when you are fully yourself on LinkedIn, it just becomes so much easier. You're not second guessing, what am I going to put out there? You're just being yourself. Obviously, filter yourself, put your best foot forward. Even every time I do a comment, I think for a half second, how am I going to frame this? Because I know everybody reads my comments, because we're all nosy and we all read everybody's comments. So filter yourself, put your best foot forward, but be fully you, because that is your superpower, being you. And your personal brand, it's many things. It's your reputation and your credibility. You can showcase your reputation and credibility through your profile and your recommendation section. So do not be shy. Reach out to people you've worked with, collaborated with, whether it was on projects or voluntary work or paid work, and start to get a few of those valuable recommendations on your profile. Your personal brand is also made of your personality, your online presence, and your energy. And you can convey energy on LinkedIn through your posts, through your branding, through your messaging. So now it's all about participating and get ready to mingle, because like I said, it's a social network. So the first way you can network is via the home feed. And there is a whole array of ways you can network here. So firstly, posts. So you can actually write up to 3,000 words at the moment. They've just recently increased. Then you can also share videos on LinkedIn. You can also share LinkedIn Live, which is just a way of streaming live onto LinkedIn. You can write articles, which are, you know, long form, you know, blogs. You can simply comment. Comments are so powerful. Like I said, they will jump you into the top 10%. So commenting on other people's posts, whether it's somebody you're interested in or a company you're interested in, gets you noticed. And it's actually a great way to do outreach. You know, if you know that you want to connect with somebody in particular or a company in particular, I would say go onto their profile and company page and comment on a few of their posts first. So then when you reach out, they recognize your face, and then they've already kind of bought into you and they will connect with you quicker. You can also curate content. So you can share an amazing blog or article that you read somewhere, I don't know, at Forbes, anything like that, and you put your take at the top and tell people why they need to read this article. So don't just share it, always give a call to action and tell exactly why they need to read it, because we need to be spoon-fed a bit on social media so that we stop in our tracks and read and digest. And that positions you as a thought leader. You didn't write the article in Forbes, but because you've shared it, you've given value and you've given your take, that positions you as a thought leader, which is amazing. And you can also do stories on the app version of LinkedIn, very similar to Instagram. I'm not a massive fan, but if you are visual and if you like doing stories, go for it. You can also do polls, which came about a year ago. They're a very easy feature to use, especially in terms of research. If you ever have any questions that you want answered, just do a simple poll. People love answering polls, and you can follow up with the people after the poll has expired because you can see who voted. So strategic polls are a great way to use LinkedIn. And you can also share documents on the home feed. So documents are PDFs. So you could create a PDF on Canva. I don't know if you're aware of Canva, canva.com, or you could create like a carousel. So you could repurpose a blog article and make it more visual, make nice graphic of it. 3 tips to effective research. You know, that the first page is the title, then tip 1, tip 2, tip 3, and then at the very end, if you'd like to connect, if you'd like to know more, reach out, connect with me, you know, your name, your contact details, your call to action. So visuals, documents, they are popular at the moment. People like anything like that, and they will actually look at them. So the next way you can participate is via LinkedIn Messenger. So these are direct messages. There are 2 types, a one-to-one, you and one person, or a group, which could be 3 people or more. And I'd love to know in the chat box, how are you using Messenger? Okay, so do you send written messages? Do you send audio messages? Do you send video messages? Did you know you could send audio and video messages? Okay, so when it comes to the audio and the video, you could only send them with the LinkedIn app. You can't send them from the desktop. I'm happy to test audio and video with any of you. If you're feeling brave later on, connect with me and say, I want an audio. So audios are capped at 60 seconds, very similar to WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, same concept. The great thing is when you're finished, you get the option to delete or send it. So great if you make a mistake. Videos, you can actually go longer. You can go to 2 minutes. The only annoying thing about the video is it's not so easy if you've done it and it's not perfect to delete it. So you have to just kind of roll with the punches when you do the video and just think it's not going to be perfect and just send it, okay? I'm a lover of audio. You know, I do a mixture of written and audio. I do the odd video, but it's usually with my clients. So it's all about you figuring out what works for you and what do you think that person would like to receive as well, okay? So I start with written. We all start with written because you have to send that first written connection request, and you could jump straight to an audio if you feel like it, or do it down the line. But they are a great way of moving the conversation on a lot quicker, because an audio feels like a voicemail that you have to respond to, and a video is like somebody is in your inbox physically, so very hard to ignore. People ignore written messages, but they never ignore an audio or a video, okay? So the next way you can connect and participate is via LinkedIn groups, and very similar to the home feed. You know, you can do posts in the home feed of a group, you can ask questions, you can comment on existing posts. And the way I like to use groups is building my network. So when you're in any group, you can see the members on the top right hand side. So I always bring them up and scroll through and think, who looks interesting? Who do I want to reach out to? So obviously, if there are any groups of alumni or researchers, join them and have a look, because you never know how you can help each other down the line. So you are like minds, or if you belong to any official association or networking organization, if they have a LinkedIn group, check it out and reach out to fellow members. And when I was first starting, I would say I built a third of my network through groups of like minds. So it is a great way to start networking, because you're connecting warm. It's not cold outreach. You're reaching out to them and saying, hi John, we both belong to the XYZ researcher group on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you. And they know exactly why you want to connect. There's something in common. So it's a great way to start off building your network. And I'm just going to touch briefly on my journey using LinkedIn. I promise it's not going to be War and Peace. So firstly, I started using it in corporate about 15 years ago, maybe. So I'm originally from Dublin. I moved to the UK, London, about 18 years ago. Back in Ireland, I studied English and French, and I worked on a technology magazine. And when I moved to London, I tried to break into publishing, but I wasn't able to. So I rebranded myself as a high-level personal assistant, and I started to do a lot of physical face-to-face networking, so a lot of familiarization trips to hotels and restaurants, and I joined a lot of PA networks to meet my peers and just to do my job better. So then around that time, a year or two in, LinkedIn started. I ignored it, and I was like, do I need to be on that? What is that all about? Eventually I did a talk like you're doing today, and I thought, yeah, I need to be on it to do my job better. So I started to connect with my peers initially in London, then around the UK, then globally. Also my clients, I worked in shipping finance, so any of our clients, then our suppliers, our partners, and then anybody I found interesting, so trainers, thought leaders. I just started to reach out and build my network that way. So the great news for any of you listening who are introverts and who hate the idea of the home feed or anything like that, first few years, all I used was Messenger, okay? So of those three, home feed, Messenger, groups, I just used Messenger. So I had a very strong profile. It was very clear as to what I did and who I was trying to connect with. And I was representing myself, my company, my profession. And yeah, Messenger is all I used for years. And the top left, I won the title of the most networked PA in London, and that was through my usage of LinkedIn. So anytime I was going to an event or a conference, I would see if I could find the people first on LinkedIn and connected with them. So and I do this still now, anytime I go networking, I know somebody in the room, okay? So it's perfect if you're an introvert. When you walk in, you're always greeted with, hi, Jennifer, and you don't have to figure out who am I going to chat to. So it's such an amazing platform for things like that. I can remember being in the Savoy once with my brother, and then the manager coming over to me and saying hi, and we'd never met in person. It was just because we had connected on LinkedIn and he knew my photo. So it's such a great way to start to build relationships. Then over time, I started to get a bit braver. So I started to do a few posts on the home feed, and I started to think, how can I give back to my community? And at that time, I was really fed up of the perception of PAs just being tea and typing, because I'm a graduate. I knew PAs who had masters, who spoke 5 languages, who were running companies. So I started to do a lot of blogs about, you know, raising the perception of the role, how to create a PA network within your company, how to get your job spec revised, how to network as a PA. So it was all community focused. So obviously my community loved it because I was bigging them up, and it just helped me to get, you know, greater reach. So I went on to win a National Rising Star Award from a women's network, and then Pittman Training, who I did all my original training with, they gave me one of their Global Super Achiever Awards. So I'm not saying all of this to be like, hey, check me out, I'm amazing. I never entered an award before the age of 40. I know I don't look it, but all I'm saying is if I can do this as an introvert, okay, anybody can do this. And there were 3 things I did when I was in corporate, okay? Number 1, social. I'm social on LinkedIn. I say hi, I comment, okay? 2, consistent. I show up consistently. It's all about creating that know, like, and trust. And the 3rd, community focused. How can I give back to my network? That's all I did, not rocket science. And at one point in time, I was ranked as the #1 assistant online globally. And for some reason, I don't know why, I cut off number 8 was the PA to Obama. And a few of you might know number 3, it was actually the PA to David Gandy's supermodel. So not bad for me, a PA in boring financial services, getting to the #1. And then, oh yeah, number 5, PA to Psycho, Simon Cowell's old PA. So I'm just saying, you can have reach. This poll was across all social media. I was only really using LinkedIn. So LinkedIn definitely works. And then fast forward, obviously I've set up my business now. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my why, because the way marketing has moved, it's changed. People care about your why now. It's not good enough to just be good at what you do and credible. People want to know your backstory. So I quit my job about 6 years ago now, and a few things happened to me around the space of a year or 2. So the bottom left, I got divorced from my first husband. I'm happily remarried again, so that's not a sob story. Bottom right, my mother was sick for 6 months. She has mental health issues, so she was actually sectioned. She's fine now. Top right, I had back surgery. My back went, so I literally was off work for 6 months. So it was very similar to COVID. It gave me time to stop and think, what am I doing in my life? How did I get stuck in this role? This is not what I trained for, and what do I want to do going forward? And at that point in time, I'd probably done about 15 social media courses, lots of other courses on SEO and WordPress, just everything. I'd fallen in love with the fact that you can get your voice in the room as an introvert online and make an impact without having to be the loudest person in the room. And my back is fine now. Okay, so top left, this is not a solvable one. My lovely friend Katrina committed suicide. So the culmination of all this kind of made me go, life's too short, so I quit my job. And then I set up my Super Connector, which is what I do now. So now I help other people to get their voice in the room. And LinkedIn is the one, like I said at the start, people block themselves on, they get imposter syndrome. And I promise it's just a tool. You need to use it as a tool and treat it like a tool, and it will really work for you. So as a business owner, I don't do anything different really to what I did in corporate. So number one, I'm social. Number two, I'm consistent. And number three, I'm community focused. So now my focus is championing really small business owners. And also one of my passions is helping students, universities, just people get on LinkedIn in general and use it to create opportunities for themselves and economic growth. So I wanted to just touch a little bit on the LinkedIn rock stars as well. And you might think, what the hell is she talking about now? Well, during lockdown, I was ranked number one on this list twice. It's a list of LinkedIn trainers around the world, okay? And you have to be nominated to get onto the list, and to qualify you have to be, it's an American lady who set this up. If you want to check her out, she's called Brenda Meller, so it's very American. So you have to be a rock star, and I believe you can all be rock stars on LinkedIn. So the R stands for a real desire to help. As we said at the very start, it's all about giving. That's the secret to LinkedIn. The O is showcasing your outstanding knowledge. The C, have a caring attitude, K, be kind and giving. It's all about, being a kind human being. S, be a super connector, introduce people where you can, help your network. The T is all about building that trust with your network. It's all about relationship building. A, actively engage. And then I've already said R, relationship building. So that's what all the LinkedIn trainers are saying that you need to do. And I believe you can all be rock stars in your own right. And I also don't profess to be the ultimate LinkedIn guru in the world. My specialty is personal branding, profile optimization, connecting, direct message, whereas others will touch on the paid version. So like a premium, sales navigator, paid ads, they'll have different viewpoints. So check out the list if you're interested. You just need to put in hashtag LinkedIn Rockstars in the search bar and you'll see the list. I'm no longer number one, but it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so today I'm going to give you 3 tangible ways to make an impact on LinkedIn and make that positive first impression. So the first way is through your cover banner. The second is your headshot, and the third is your headline. Of course, other areas are important, like your about section, your summary, but if you don't grab people's attention within the first 7 seconds, they're not going to scroll down. So you really need to put the effort in at the top. So what is your cover banner? Well, it's the photo image behind your head. And you can create one of these yourself on a platform like Canva, canva.com. There is a LinkedIn banner template there. Or if you're not good at graphics, and I'm not, outsource, get a graphic designer or a virtual assistant who's great at graphics to make one for you. And you need to really showcase who you are and what you stand for, and knowing what your keywords are. So obviously my main keyword phrase is LinkedIn trainer. So when I pip up on something or they find me, people know at a glance I'm a LinkedIn trainer. And as a business owner, I've incorporated my brand colors and my logo. So it's about you figuring out what are your keywords, what do you want to be known for. If you are exploring keywords, there are some great websites out there. So Google has its own keyword planner site. One I use a lot is Moz, moz.com. Neil Patel has a site called Uber Suggest, and that's all about, basically you would put in postgraduate researcher or researcher, and it'll bring up loads of other keywords related to research, okay? So you know, definitely explore what your keywords are and what you want to be known for. Okay. So your cover photo, it's your opportunity to showcase your personality and warm up your audience. So you have to think of it as LinkedIn is your personal career website. This is your home page, and this is your home banner graphic. It's your West End billboard, your Broadway billboard, telling the world at a glance who you are and what you do. If you don't do it, if you leave it blank, it's really a missed opportunity. Now, when I was in corporate, I started really small. Like, I literally had just a block of color behind my head. And at that point, everybody just had the fuzzy blue, you know, generic background. And I created one that was green, okay? And my dress that I was wearing was green. I'm Irish. I worked for a French bank. Their colors were green, and they were big into sustainability. So it was all on brand, and all it was a color, and it made me really pop and stand out, okay? So you don't need to get too kind of crazy or creative here. Just a strong color that will tie in with what you're wearing in your headshot as well, and then your keywords. So now jumping on to your headshot, and I'm a massive believer in a professional headshot. If you can get one, definitely invest. Such a worthwhile investment. You can use it across all your social media. If you're ever writing a guest article or a guest blog or appearing on I don't know, an interview series, an event, just use that same image again and again and again. It's all about the know, like, and trust. So there's two things your headshot has to be. The first is 400 by 400 pixels. Don't worry too much about it. LinkedIn will tell you when you try to upload if it's good enough or not. Second is, I believe your entire face has to be, you know, visible on LinkedIn. It's all about people seeing the whites of your eyes and looking into the camera. So LinkedIn's not Instagram. It's not a place to get artistic, looking wistfully to the right or to the left. Look head on, and that's how people, you know, you generate that know, like, and trust. So when it comes to your current headshot, I'd love you to ask yourself these questions. Is it a selfie? Is it well lit and professional looking? Even if you've taken it yourself, if you've got good lighting, good lamp, or, you know, neutral background, daylight even, you know, as long as it's well lit. Is it up to date? Is it current? Do you look approachable? You want to look friendly, because that's the whole point. It's a social network. You don't want to look super serious. Do the colors that you've chosen reflect your brand? And you can showcase personality in that image, whether it's a necklace or makeup, or for the men, it could be a tie or funky pair of glasses. You know, you can showcase personality. Are you dressed suitably for the profession that you're representing? And ultimately, would you want to do business with the person in the photo? That's what it all boils down to. And I remember being in corporate and getting my first professional headshot, and instantly people connected with me differently, quicker, way quicker. It was amazing. So it was like a light bulb moment. So it's so worthwhile investing in a headshot. And if anybody needs me to recommend photographers around the area, Cornwall, Devon, I'm happy to do that, okay? So headline is the next area, and this is the area underneath your name, and you've got 220 characters to sell yourself here, okay? So I would say try and use those 220 or almost the 220. And to break it down, okay, the headline is the most common mistake made on LinkedIn. So many people just use this as a job title, and it's so much more. There's basically a formula to it, like an ABC. So the A is, who are you? Which is a researcher, postgraduate researcher, early career researcher. Who do you help? Okay. What industry, what niche, what people, and how do you help them? What is the proof point? Okay. So I've given an example here of Dion, and the bottom left, she's just put in a title, interpreter. You know, nobody is ever going to find her if you put that in the search bar. She's going to be lost. But if you think of keywords and you pepper them in, so London-based interpreter, somebody's putting in London interpreter, and maybe they're putting in copywriter, Italian, you know, she's a great chance of showing up in search. So it's all about you knowing what your keywords are, okay, and what people are looking for. So doing your research. Now, if you're stuck, these are some things that will help you to write your headline. Your location. Does this matter to you? If you're only based in Cornwall or Devon or London or whatever, put it in, okay? Your industry or sector, if you only work with, you know, specific industries like construction, financial services, SMEs, you know, particular people, put that in, because people will know at a glance you're the one for them. Any specialism that you wish to highlight, years of experience. I know you're all quite young, and maybe not that, but that's worth noting for the future, because that all helps to build on the know, like, and trust. Awards you've won, if you've ever been spotlighted for an award, nominated, a finalist, even if you've worked in an award-winning team that has impact. Your keywords is the main thing. And you're the first group of people that will get the importance of this, because you are researchers, and most people don't. They kind of do all the rest, but keywords, they're so important. So knowing what you stand for and knowing what you want, okay, your goals, your target audience. Personality, depending on your industry. Obviously, if you're targeting certain industries, they might be a little bit more formal. Main thing, be specific and use clear language. Don't be obtuse. You know, I had one guy, he had inspiring leaders, inspiring minds, and I was like, what the hell do you do? I'm never going to find you. That's lovely for the end of your headline, but I need to know at the start, are you an executive coach? Are you a speaker? Like, what are you? So be specific and use clear language. And always ask yourself, does this headline align with my personal brand, so who you are as an individual, and does it effectively deliver your value? Because you've got 756 million people on LinkedIn. You need to have a bit of the X factor in your headline. That way people will connect with you quicker, and then they will be interested to learn more, okay? So I promise I'm nearly at the end of this section. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And it's the role of content that will set you apart. So content applies to everything on LinkedIn. It applies to your profile. It's all in your profile. It's all in your posts, whether they're on the home feed or in a group, and it's in your messaging, okay? So it's all content, and it's all about that know, like, and trust, being consistent, and then you will create that community, and then it's all about leaning into that community to ask for collaboration, okay? So you might think, how long is this going to take me to do all of this? I don't have the time. I promise. The hard work goes into the start. It's about building up your profile, building that solid foundation, figuring out your strategy, what feels right for me. Is it home feed? Am I going to do articles? Am I going to do posts? Am I going to make videos? Am I going to do none of that? Am I just going to send messages? Am I going to send audios? Or am I going to hang out in a group? Or am I going to do a combo? Once you've figured out that, it's just a case of rinse and repeat. It's about having that clear message and a consistency, and that's it. So every day you could go in for 5-10 minutes and you'll get LinkedIn working for you. And what you need to do is, number one, check and respond to all messages. You know, treat your messages like you would emails, okay? And respond to them if you can within 24 to 48 hours. Check and act on notifications and connection requests. Notifications, somebody might have tagged you in, somebody might be looking for somebody in a specialty, you know, a specialism that you have, and if you don't check it, you've missed that opportunity. Likewise, there could be a connection request that's really interesting. Somebody wants to reach out to you, collaborate with you, partner with you, work with you, so do check. You don't want to miss anything. Check your activity section as well, so you can scroll down to your profile and you can click into all your content. You can see if there's been any engagement on any of your posts. So whether, you know, sometimes we do a post and then we forget about it. It's always good to go back, good practice, because you don't want to leave anybody hanging with a comment. If you're a member of a group as well, you need to go back to the group, and if you've started a post in the group, go back and see if anybody's commented. And if you want to build your network, I know a lot of you will be at the beginning stages, you could send one connection request every day, or what I'd probably do is be batches, you know, either once a week or once a month. Sit down and think, right, this month maybe I'm going to target the alumni group. I'm going to connect with 100 people in there that are interesting to me, and then next month I'm going to target that group, and next month, and so on and so on. So it doesn't have to take a lot of time, okay? So my summary for this presentation before we jump to the Q&A is, number one, be intentional. What are you trying to achieve on LinkedIn? What are your keywords? What is your personal brand? Who are you looking to connect with? Why are you on LinkedIn? Is it to build your network, become a thought leader, to collaborate, to partner? Just be intentional, know what you're trying to achieve. Be you, okay? That is your superpower. There will be a lot of researchers in the world, but there's only one of you. Likewise, there's a zillion LinkedIn trainers, there's only one of me. So stay in your own lane, don't compare yourself to anyone else. You know, we always seem to compare ourselves to people way down the line. It's pointless, isn't it? Or I would compare myself to an extroverted TEDx speaker. Pointless. I'm an introvert. I'm never going to be a TEDx speaker. I don't want to be. So, you know, stay in your own lane, okay? First impressions count. whether it comes to the desktop or the mobile, optimize that top section of your profile. So create that cover banner, have that amazing professional headshot, and have that impactful headline, okay? And that's a great way for you to create that first impression and connect. Then it's all about the 2 Ps. So the first is profile, optimizing your profile. Check out the checklist as well after this. It will help you flesh it out even more. And then participate, figure out how you want to show up, how you want to network. And ultimately, be a giver, be social, be consistent, and cultivate a community. So you are a community already, okay? You're a community of researchers, and you're also a community from the University of Exeter. So lean into each other. So that was it, really. That is the presentation. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to check the chat box, and then I'm going to take your questions. So thank you for listening. I know I've just been like speaking at you. So bear me a sec. Hello again. So I'm going to just bring up the screen and quickly have a look at what you've been putting in the chat box. Okay. Oh, yeah, don't worry about your cameras on and off. Just relax, you know, especially when the presentation's on. It's all good. Okay. Okay, John, I'm working with an industrial partner to develop internet. Interested to understand how. Absolutely, definitely. It's all about you learning how to use the search bar and leaning into people, companies, groups. So we could definitely touch on that. Lurker, below absent, don't worry, George. And if you've not created a profile, definitely create one. Hopefully this will make you think you need, like, it is such a good tool. It's not going away. It's 18 years going now. LinkedIn's not going away anywhere fast. So lots of lurkers, lurker networker, well, I like networker influencer, that's great. Recent networker, all good. Absent, well, hopefully, even at the bare minimum, if you go away and you do the first P, which is optimize your profile, that will be great, because that will enable you to show up in search. So at the bare minimum, do that. You can worry about the participating down the line, but definitely have a strong profile first. Organic reach is free reach. It's all about tapping into the free version of LinkedIn without having to use paid ads. And at the moment, the free reach on LinkedIn is super high. And I'm sure in the future it will change, and LinkedIn will want to push everyone to the premium level. So basically, there are actually 7 versions of LinkedIn, but I'm not going to bore you with them all. But the main 3 are the free version, which is probably what most of you are on. Then premium is one step up, and then there's Sales Navigator. So Sales Navigator is usually for sales teams, and recruiters use another version which is very similar to Sales Navigators. Premium, I'm currently on it. The only reason I'm on it is to do more extensive research. There's greater search functionality on Premium, because on the free version you are capped and you reach your limit quite quick. So I would say in general stay on the free version, but when you're working on a specific project, you may want to upgrade, and you can actually upgrade for free for 30 days to check it out. And then I frequently upgrade, downgrade, upgrade, downgrade. In general, I say you can get it really working for you for free, and the odd time upgrade if you need the extra functionality. Good score, 59. To be honest, 60 is a really good SSI score. It's something to aim for. Don't worry, 11. Don't worry, Adrian. You'll get these scores up higher. And like I said, if you go through my checklist, and you know, at the bare minimum, do the 7 criteria for the all-star that I talked about at the start, you know, filling out your profile as much as possible, sticking up a headshot that makes a difference, even putting a sentence in the about area, that all helps you to show up more in search. So thank you for sharing your scores. It's just a metric. So Nikolai is saying, what does it even give me? It's just a metric for you to know where you need to improve on LinkedIn. Is it building relationships? Is it using search? Is it clicking in the analytics? The more you fill it out, the more you show up, basically. And the more you use LinkedIn, the algorithm will know whether you're posting or messaging. The algorithm tracks all of that, and that boosts your score. So obviously it's a social network. The more active you are, the score will increase, but you will never, like I said, you'll never get 100 out of 100. The ultimate metric is, are people contacting you? Are they reaching out, sending connection requests and direct messages saying, I want to talk to you, I want to collaborate with you, I want to work with you? That's the real metrics, okay? So the score is just a nice to know, because a lot of people don't even know it exists. So it's just, I wanted to just tell you about it, because a lot of people don't know how to track anything on LinkedIn. But the ultimate metrics is, are people coming to you? Are you being found? Are they reaching out? And if they're not, you need to optimize your profile and you need to optimize your strategy. Okay. So yeah, please, Nikolai, that's great that you're sharing your LinkedIn URL. Other people share it here as well. You know, I don't know if you've got a group. If you've got a group, look at the members in the group and reach out to each other, because I really think it's a great way for you to all lean in. You've all got this in common, and you never know how you can help each other down the line. You could collaborate on projects together, multiple researchers. So definitely connect with each other. That's great, Sarika, adding your photo, amazing. And don't worry, even if you just pop any photo for now, it's better than no photo. If you've no photo, it makes you look like a bot, okay? People won't trust it, you know, you could be the best person in the world, but you'll just look spammy. So definitely show up, okay? So thank you. How do you check the profile got all star? You can check on your dashboard, and I can actually bring that up. I'll try and bring up LinkedIn in a second. And that's good. Tracy's saying she's got some tasks to do. Okay. Okay. I'm just looking quickly at the questions. Yeah, any tips on how to keep the feed better and better filtered? Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, is now I'm going to attempt to bring up LinkedIn on the screen, and I will answer your questions, and I will show you how to tidy your feed and a few other things. So bear with me a second. I think I probably have to open up LinkedIn again. So just bear with me a quick sec. Sometimes, yeah, Zoom can be a bit annoying. I already have LinkedIn open, but you have to open it a zillion times for it to kind of see it on Zoom. So I'm actually going to open it 3 times for good measure. And I'll show you how to filter your feed, because that is a great question. Okay. So just bringing it up now. I might have to switch off some messages, so bear with me a sec. All my private messages, I'm going to shut them down. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you can see my home feed at the moment. Yeah, great. Okay, brilliant. So bear with me a sec. I'm just going to quickly move the chat. So I'm currently on my home feed. So this is basically, your home feed is like your personal magazine or newspaper, and you see basically all the people you're following, all the company pages you're following. Now, I've got 10,000 connections, but I'm not following those 10,000 people. I'm following about 1,000, because I used to be in shipping finance, and I don't give a fig about shipping finance anymore. It's not of interest to me. So, but those people are still great. I'm still connected to them, but I have unfollowed them. So the way you can unfollow people on Facebook, you can do the exact same on LinkedIn. So my #1 advice would be unfollow people that you're not crazy on their content or it's not of interest to you. The way to filter your home feed at a glance is you just, okay, I'm going to quickly, I just have to move your heads around here. I'll just go to my profile and quickly show you. So first of all, you're on your profile. Then you're like, how do I get to the home feed? You go to the top menu bar, and the home feed is the little house icon. Click on the home. And then if you want to filter what you're seeing, you can see over here under that section of start a post, right underneath, you've got sort by top or recent. So top is kind of the top performing posts really, and then recent are the newest posts. So that's just a quick way at a glance of just seeing what's going on, what is the most recent. So you can see on the top of mine there, it says it's what? It says it's a few minutes, 3 minutes ago. Well, Tamara liked it. So Tamara probably liked it in the last few seconds. So it's more recent than 3 minutes. Or if you want to see kind of the top things, it's the top things within my networker that are kind of going on at the moment. This has got a, you know, this is a local event in Exeter Chambers Coffee Morning is popular at the moment. So that's got a few things going on. So that's a basic way of how do you see what's new or up to date. So the unfollowing, okay? If you want to unfollow someone, now I'm not saying I want to unfollow Tom, but just for the sake of example, if you go to the top right of any post, you'll see 3 little ellipses, okay? Those 3 dots. You click on it and you get a drop down. Now I could unfollow Tom, but I'd still be connected, but I won't see his posts in the home feed. So this is something I would encourage you all to do. And it's something you can do maybe when you're on your app, maybe you're watching telly or you're bored or whatever, scroll. Even if you did this for 5 minutes a day, over a week or two, you will have unfollowed everyone you want to unfollow, and then you will really like the content in your feed. So the more you curate your feed, the quicker and easier it'll be for you to engage, okay? So for example, this, I like it, and I'll say something, this is a bit cheesy, but great to see the sun shining. And then if you want to tag someone in, you do the @ sign. So then you put in Tom. Now, I'm not that formal. So to make it just the first name, you backspace. So I'd say, great to see the sunshine in Tom. Looks like a great event. So easy for me to comment on that because, well, I live in Exeter. Well, I live in Shalden. I'm not far from Exeter. I was an Exeter Chamber member, but I still support them even though I'm no longer a member. So the more you curate your feed, the easier it will be for you to like, comment. You'll see under any post, like, comment, share, and send. Now the share is a tricky one because obviously LinkedIn encourages you to share, but when you actually share a post like this with the algorithm, you don't really get much reach. So I would not encourage you to share that way. If you see a good post that you like, I would go to the ellipses and I would copy the link to the post, and then I'd start it as a new post and you'll get more reach. Now it's a silly kind of algorithm thing with LinkedIn. It doesn't make sense. There should be more, you know, it should make sense that when I share it, they boost it more, but they don't. So I would always copy the link and start anew. Likewise, if you're curating something maybe from, like I said, Forbes or whatever, from the university business page, copy the link and start anew, you'll get more reach. The send is, you can send something to somebody in their direct message. So if you ever see a post or an article and you think that looks really interesting, you just click on send, and then you pick somebody you want to send it to and say, look, I saw this event, this could be good for you to join, or this looks great. So that's an easy way for you to give value to your network. So it doesn't always have to be about showing up on the home feed. It could be behind the scenes in a DM. That's a nice, useful thing. If somebody sent you something, oh, I saw this article, I thought of you, it's, you know, blah, blah, blah. You'd be happy to receive that. It's not spammy, it's giving value. So that was the first one about curating the feed and unfollowing. I know there was another, I know Shriram, he asked me about recommendations and how to get a good recommendation. So I'm just going to randomly, I'm going to bring up my friend John, just for the sake of example. So if I wanted a recommendation from John, there are two ways you can do it. The first is you bring up someone's profile and then you click on this more button at the top, and then you get a drop down and you can see you can request a recommendation in there. Or you scroll down and there is the recommendation section on their profile down the end. Now, again, it's one of those weird LinkedIn things, and you can ask for a recommendation here, and you would think this is the best way to ask, but sometimes this section plays up and is clunky and it just doesn't work. So I actually always do it the other way. So it's another LinkedIn thing. So you click on the more, the drop down, then request a recommendation, and then you select your relationship. So you'll have to look through these, but for the most part, you know, it could be for you, it could be worked with each other, but in different groups or different companies or the same group. And for the sake of just showing you, I'm just going to say John was a client of mine. And then you select your position at the time. So you could go back to previous roles. It doesn't have to be all about your current one. I'm just going to select my current for the example. Then you click on next. Then you get this horrible generic thing from LinkedIn. So I would backspace. And the key to getting quick recommendations is make it easy, make it effective, and basically spoon feed, okay? So you give people as much information as possible. So I would say something like, I'm updating my LinkedIn profile and would really appreciate if you could give me a testimonial based on the ABC project we did together in May 2020. Any takeaways? Be amazing. And then position it as a win. Please let me know if I can help you in any way. Warm wishes. Or best wishes, whatever way you want to sign it off. Warm wishes, Jennifer. Okay, so you're kind of telling them, we did this project together, whatever. Or you could, you know, another way you could do it is you just say, at the time you sent me this in an email, you know, if they've given you one already by email or they've said it to you verbally, copy and paste it and say, I'd really love if you could share it, because you're making it as easy as possible. But if you just do the generic, you're making people think, and we're all time poor, or we think we're time poor. So the easier you make it for someone, the quicker you'll get one, and the better the testimonial. So the more you can go deep and say, you know, where were you at the start of the project? Where were you at the end? How has the project benefited you? The better testimonial, as opposed to a generic one. So be mindful of your keywords, and you can say, look, I would love if you could, you know, I'm going to be doing a new project on XYZ. I'd love if you could focus on that aspect we did. So the more information, the more you can spoon feed, the better you will, the quicker you'll get them. Okay. Aim for 10 to begin with, and then, you know, aim for more. Okay, because I promise once you get into the swing of asking for it, it'll just become second nature. It won't feel icky. And some people will say, do you want to write it yourself, you know? But if you've definitely got one verbally or by email, copy and paste it back and say, I'd love if you could put it in here as well. So put on your thinking cap and think, who can you reach out to that you've worked with on a project, whether it was voluntary or paid, and whether it was a past professor, anything like that, and start to get those recommendations in, because social proof, it's just so important. So I'm trying to think, was there any other question? Do people want to even unmute themselves and then come on and ask me a question and I can show you how to do something? Is anyone feeling brave? Because I can't actually see the chat box when I'm sharing the screen.
I haven't, hi, it's John here.
Hi, John.
I just put a message in the chat. Obviously, as a researcher, I'm kind of always constantly thinking of funding.
Yeah.
And following the pandemic, in my field, government funding is going to go down. So industry and private individual funding is going to be more and more important. You know, do those people use LinkedIn to approach single individuals, just to either to let them know that this pot of money is available, you know, and to apply for, or not, and you know, do they use it more than, say, Twitter? Which,
oh yeah, definitely. So I actually can see your bit of the chat's popped up. So you've said, are you aware of industry and private individuals using LinkedIn to make specific researchers aware of pots of money? I'd have to look into it exactly for you, but I definitely know there are, like, I'll give you an example of a lady I know, and she helps business owners with funding. You know, it's just a case of kind of using the search bar, but I will definitely look into that for you, and reach out to me after this, connect with me and remind me of the question, and I will look into my network and see who can help you. But there are definitely, like, so Hattie, she helps startups get funded, and there are lots of people like Hattie, and I'm sure, I haven't actually done the research into researchers, but I'm sure there are people on there. And the more, like, you know, your keywords, I mean, if you want to throw a few keywords at me now, even, we can look in the search bar and do a search and see what comes up, because you can search for people or groups or content, and I can search through my network as well.
well, yeah, so I mean, I work in diabetes genetics, so I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be probably some great groups and people on this. I'm not looking about funding yet, but I'm just putting in this for a start. Let's put in okay, people first. So you can see at the top, you can filter down. I've selected people, so I'm going to just drill down into my first connections and just see who do I know. Probably don't really know anyone, but you never know, I might surprise myself. So I'm going to put in, okay, I know one person, I think she's just got diabetes. But so to widen the search, I'm going to select my second degree network. So this is just a good example to show you how you can open things up. So by tagging in the people I know, we've jumped from 1 person to 557. So these people I could reach out to, and you can see below each person, so just say below Katya at the top, these people are the people we have in common. So I could reach out to one of these and say, Hannah, I see you're connected to Katya. I'm interested in whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'd love an introduction. So you can see I'm 1 person away. So I can have a look and see, can I connect to some good people for you, or do it yourself? And then you can filter by location. So if it's just the UK, then you narrow it down. So now it's narrowed down to 129. But the more information you put in, the better. So I'm going to just show you, not necessarily people. I'm just going to go back to the home feed and start it again. Search. Sorry, my typing always goes askew when I'm on video. So I just want to just highlight, because I know it is quite quickly. When you put in the search first, you can see all the different things you can look up. So we looked at people. You can also look at posts, jobs, groups, companies, schools, courses, events, services, loads. I'm just going to look up groups for a second. Okay. So that one looks like a good one. Clinical diagnostics and research, because there's 620 people in that. So that could be a good group for you to reach out. And you know, one way to get traction and be noticed is create a group yourself. So you can see there's actually not a lot of groups on LinkedIn. So you could create a super niche group here, just called Diabetes Genetics Research Group, whatever. But yeah, I would check that group out for a start. And then I'm just going to quickly go back and look at the posts, because it's looking at the posts is a good way to see different people around the world posting about the same thing. So you can filter by the date. So you could filter the last 24 hours, past month. We'll just do past 24 hours and see who's posting about it. So Francesco seems to be quite prolific. And then these guys. So you might, you know, it's a good way to find interesting stuff in your feed, you know, and reach out. So if you liked his post or any of these posts, you can reach out and say, look, I really enjoyed the post, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll start to meet like minds. So we haven't put in funding. I don't know about the genetics, but it might work with the, okay, there's a funding program there. So let's even filter it and go back even the past month. Yeah, so the more you kind of filter and look back, you might find something here in the post, and then you can filter it and go to people and see who have this kind of thing in there. Okay. Sometimes LinkedIn plays up, you can see. Okay. So you can see research funding committee member at diabetes. So we're starting to see some people, and again, I'm going to see if I go in anyone first. No, I don't. So second, yeah. So you're usually only 1 person away, you know, from somebody who has that kind of expertise. So hopefully you can see that it's quite easy once you start to use the search bar and drill down what you want. I would say the main things, the main searches I do are people, posts, companies and groups. And sometimes in the posts you will see interesting events going on, conferences. So even at a bare minimum, you know, once a week you could just have a look and see what's going on and reach out, set some time aside, because you will find interesting people to you. So hopefully you can see, I know these are only my second. If I opened it up to my third, it'll be way bigger. So you're up to 2,100 then, you know. And this is just my network. Obviously, I'm not a researcher. Once you start connecting with each other, your search will be way bigger than this, because you'll all know researchers and people in that industry. So yeah, it's all just about learning how to use the search bar and drilling down.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Thank you.
Okay, quickly. How do we get our LinkedIn URL? Shahan has asked. So basically your LinkedIn URL is basically when you go to the top of your profile, and it's that link at the very top. So, you know, when you open any website, that is it really. Another way that you find it is in your contact information. If you go in there, you'll see at the very top your profile URL. Now, mine's not a great one from a branding perspective. I created it when I was in corporate. I was the first Jennifer Corcoran, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to have number one, whatever. You know, a better way of doing it, and the reason I haven't changed is because so many people know me with this one, it's just easier to say. But if I was a researcher, I'd have Jennifer Corcoran researcher or research. You know, you can have keywords in it. A lot of you, if you're new, you'll have all these funky digits at the end, ABC, 1, 2, 3. So the way you change it is bring up your profile, and then you'll see on the top right hand corner, edit public profile and URL. If you click through there, and you're brought into your public profile. So this is what people see about you on Google or on LinkedIn if you're not connected. This is like the profile that's out there for the world outside of LinkedIn, really. And the very top right, you can see edit your custom URL, and you just click into that little pen and then you can backspace, okay? So I'm just going to leave it back at that and then save it, okay? So backspace all those ABC 1, 2, 3 because they never look great. You know, if you're applying for a new job and you put it on your CV, you want to have a nice kind of uniform. Don't worry if your name's gone. You know, lots of people, I think there was a zillion Jennifer Corcorans, which is why I put the 1 in. You can put a hyphen in between names, or like I said, if you add in a keyword, researcher or whatever type of research, and you can change it down the line. I just haven't changed it because I've done so many workshops. Just people know me with this one. It's easier for me to change. And actually, while I'm on this page, one important thing to show you is be mindful of your visibility and your settings as well. So when you scroll down in this page on your public profile, you can see my profile's public visibility is on. A lot of people have it switched off, and you can see there's different options. You can have the basic, which is required, your name, number of connections and region. You can showcase your profile photo to only the people you're immediately connected to your network at large, to all LinkedIn members, or to the public. So I've selected public because I want everybody to find me. You may know what everyone to find you, but I would suggest public or all LinkedIn members, because a lot of people, they set up their photo and then they only make it available to first degree. So for everyone else, like recruiters or HR or people you're reaching out to, they just see a bot, like, you know, they don't see anything. So definitely I would say make your photo public. You know, people are going to find you anyway. It's LinkedIn, you can't hide. And then click all of these on show. Don't hide them, you know, make sure you're fully visible. So your cover photo, they call it background, is visible, your headline's visible, websites, if you've got any websites listed in your contact info, your summary, just basically the whole way down, make sure it's show. Okay, because otherwise, what's the point of having your recommendations hidden? I mean, if you want to hide your groups, if that's a personal thing to you, that's fine, you know, it's fair enough. But in general, LinkedIn is a show up, kind of show and tell kind of platform, show up and showcase your expertise. So I would say, yeah, definitely look at this section and make sure everything's switched on, or most of the things, you know. Yeah, like I said, the groups, that might be a personal thing, but everything else, make sure that is switched on. So I'm just quickly looking and seeing if I missed. So Adrian said, what about looking for a job as a speculative application? Yeah, it's just, again, I'm just going to quickly click out of this. It's just all about using the old search bar, and you can see the job section as well. On the top menu bar, you've got jobs, but I'll be honest with you, I never really use that part, even if I'm helping a client find a job, because that part is saturated. When you go in and you start searching in here, you've got a zillion people applying. So what I do really is do searches and look up posts. So for example, sorry, I'm just going to get that off. Just say, I don't know, researcher job. Okay, it's not very great. I just have a look at research a job, and then I would look at posts, and then I would do date posted, past 24 hours, and obviously drill down the location as well. But you can you can start to find good stuff that way on the home feed, you know. So and you find a lot of the time people don't find jobs this way, or they don't look this way, but you can actually reach out to the actual recruiter this way. You know, the more targeted you are with your keywords and the more specific you are, you can find some good posts. So that's the way I would do it, really. Or looking for people, if you want to target certain companies, you know, looking for HR manager. Like I said, I would engage on their company page. I would find the HR manager, and then I would just quickly show you actually. If you ever want to engage on somebody's profile, just say it's a HR manager, it's a recruiter, it's somebody, you bring up their profile, you scroll down. Oh yeah, this was one question. How do you see All-Star? That's your dashboard. Your dashboard is really right underneath your headline, that area. And you'll know if you've got All-Star because you'll see it there. If you haven't got that little star, you haven't got it. But don't worry, you will get it. Okay. So scroll down on anyone's profile and come to this activity section. Then you click through, you can see all activity that person has done. And you see a combination of all. So that's basically all their likes, their comments, their posts. Then you can see all the articles that they've written. Then you can see all the posts that they've done. And then you can see any documents they've shared, which is a PDF, okay? So if they were a recruiter, you just click on a recent post, and then you'd go underneath and you'd like and comment, and then when you reach out they recognize your face, you know. And that's a great way to do it. I would look at their posts first, look at the company's pages post first, engage, and then reach out. Maybe reach out a few hours later or the next day, and they will recognize your face, because we do take note of the people who comment on our stuff, and then it's like you're reaching out warm. So yeah, I would definitely look at people, engage on their stuff first, and then reach out. So I hope that helps. I'm just gonna.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So you're recommending like a two-stage process when you're engaging with some hiring managers or someone like a CTO in the company?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's always good to have a look at their profile. Like at a bare minimum, bring up their profile, read their summary, have a look through, see if you've got anything in common, whether it's you both went to the same university, you both know the same person, just anything interesting that is in their profile. Otherwise, look at their content. Have they shared an interesting article, anything like that? So you can reach out and say, you know, even if you're sending a connection request, you can reach out and say, hi, John, I really enjoyed that post you shared on XYZ. Really interested in this area. I'd love to connect. Because you're showing that you've taken the time to learn something about them. Or, hi, John, just read your profile. I could see that we both studied XYZ and we both know Mary or whatever. I'd love to connect with you. Because you're showing that there's some link, and you're not just sending that generic, I'd like to connect with you, and people kind of going, why? You know? So I think, yeah, definitely warm, but to get bonus points, brownie points, engage on their content first. So have a look on their posts, so that by the time you reach out, they go, oh, I recognize Adrian. I recognize that face from the photo. Oh, and he's the guy. And I tell you, anytime anybody does it to me, I accept them like that, because I think they're engaged, they're the type of person I want to be connected to on LinkedIn, they use it, you know, it's a no-brainer. But when people reach out and they send a generic request, there's no rush, there's no urgency for me to connect with you. Or worse still, they send a connection request from the app and they don't personalize it. And there is a way of personalizing on the app, but it's not as easy. So I'm a bit old school. I always send connection requests from the desktop because it's easier to
it is.
Message. So I always think you will stand out. I'm not joking. If I get 100 requests in, I would say 5 people personalized. The rest is all generic. So just by adding a sentence or two, you will stand out, you know. And it doesn't have to be War and Peace. Just, you know, really enjoy that post. That was really interesting. Or we both belong to that group. Or I see we both did this. We both studied here. Or just any human fact that gets you that initial connection. And obviously the next message, you can go into more detail. And then the next message is up to you. You can do a written message or you can go to audio. I like to do, it depends on my mood. You know, sometimes I go to audio and it's just people are like, oh, it's a human being, there's a voice there. And it can be a short audio, it doesn't have to be 60 seconds. If you're applying for a job, it can be hi John, thanks so much for connecting, it's great to link up with you, I really enjoyed your post, and I can see you're looking for a new researcher in XYZ, it looks really interesting, I'd love to chat, let me know when's good for you. So that would probably be only about 15 seconds, and I promise it will make an impact, because it's just helping you to stand out. Where a written message, they'll come back to you as well, but the audio, the voice makes you more human and kind of brings it to the next level. Because sometimes things can feel a bit uncomfortable in a written message, and they might feel not as authentic, but when you actually voice it out verbally, it doesn't sound as, I don't know, salesy or, you know, that way. So mix it up and see what feels right for you and your personality. I probably wouldn't jump on straight with a video, because if people are a bit, oh, if they don't like video, they're like, what's happening? So yeah, but I think just be a human being, and brownie points if you add a comment to any of their posts first, then they will recognize you and they'll connect with you quicker. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to actually stop, because I think we're at the time, and I just want to make sure, I don't even know if Sriram's still here. Are we all good?
Yep, I'm still here, Jennifer. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. And
do you have anything that you want to ask me?
No, I think like if you have still have some doubts, you can connect with Jennifer.
Yeah.
She's so friendly, and she definitely message you through the LinkedIn. So maybe it will be like a late reply, like for 1 day or 2 days, but she will definitely reply. I'm sure about that thing. So you can connect with Jennifer, and if you have any doubts, you can connect. And hope you enjoyed the presentation. And I think I will send you the PDF, all the like homework stuff and the slides presentation. So yeah,
like I said, don't be shy. I'm happy to connect, and I'm happy to do audios and videos if you want to show up and just test them out on me. I don't care if you try to send me one and it fails, it doesn't matter, like it's all trial and error, you know. I'm happy to do audios and videos for you all. And if I know anyone that I can connect you with down the line, like as you can see, my research network is not massive, but it will be when I connect with you and then I'll connect with other people. So it will open up other people. So yeah, don't be shy, reach out. It's just a tool. Think of it as a tool that will help you in your career, okay? Don't let it rule you. You're going to rule LinkedIn. And the amazing thing is you have the power to put in your profile what you want to put in, and your messages and your content. You are super in control of like your digital footprint. So I hope you're feeling a bit more excited, especially the lurkers and the absent people. I promise it is a great tool. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing otherwise. Look at what I'm doing. You know, it's not going anywhere. So I hope you're liking LinkedIn, and maybe you're loving LinkedIn, but liking it at least. So I'm going to love you and leave you guys. I will download the recording, I'll send it over, and hopefully you'll get it later on. And yeah, don't be shy, reach out and connect with me, and I'll see you on LinkedIn. Okay. Have a good day, guys. Enjoy it. It's sunny here, so hopefully it's sunny with you too. Take care.